This week at the Mellon Creek Ranch, the team gets a once-in-a-lifetime shot at an extremely rare type of whitetail for South Texas.
We've been watching for 2 to 3 years, and something had happened to him this year and he didn't rub his velvet out.
Guide Hagen Watkins has been keeping a close eye on him until client Wayne Sears arrives to try and harvest this velvet trophy.
To get a chance after a velvet buck in Texas is pretty special. I hope she gets it.
God's gonna cut them down.
Mellon Creek Outfitters is a big South Texas ranch, been in the family for forever, close to 200 years. Whitetail, hogs, bobcats, coyotes, ducks, doves, pretty much anything that's native to this part of Texas, we have it here.
You know, it's not a high fence ranch. A lot of Texas is high fence, but our fences are low and these deer come and go as they please. We're just big enough to where they typically don't get off the ranch. They're born here, live here, and die here.
Put a camera up on a tree. Some bucks that Hagen's been telling us about over on the south side. I hadn't been over there this year.
My role here at Mellon Creek is I partake in a lot of the guiding of hunts, whether it's turkey hunts or deer hunts, and also I do all the scheduling of events for our hunts and any events that we may have here at the ranch.
Man, I want to go check a few cameras right quick. I've got a couple places back here in Joe's food plot, some farm country back here on the back of the ranch. Had some pretty good deer in it. Not the deer that I want to hunt, but just some backup plans if we do need them. I hope we don't, but go kind of check that out. And then I'd like to go get in that blind this evening about 4:45 and make sure that deer's doing everything he's supposed to be doing. He's on my game camera every day. I sat there last night and he acted just right, so go double check and make sure everything's still right on plan so we can kill him tomorrow evening whenever the hunters get here.
Well, Hagen's got a buck that we've been watching for 2 to 3 years, and something had happened to him this year and he didn't rub his velvet out. We don't know if he got something hung up in the fence or what happened, but for whatever reason, he didn't rub out his velvet. But he's a really big buck, and Hagen has, got a blind in place and has been watching him.
For the last 7-8 years, we've been managing, all the deer on this ranch. In the last 5 years, we stepped it up a little bit and took a lot of numbers off. And by doing that, it created more food for the deer that were here. The body weights have went up. The antler sizes are going up because we've been taking the inferior genetics off of the ranch. And by creating more food for each deer, he maximizes his potential because he's got more of the good stuff to eat than if there was 5 deer standing in one spot and you take out 3 of them, now you've got 2 that can eat the good stuff. The deer are more healthy, they're maximizing their potential better, and you're really seeing the benefits of it now.
I would bet money is at least 158. Take pictures now. Yeah, this deer makes an all. See you later. We sat in here and saw a really nice deer that'll be one of our trophy bucks this year. And he wasn't here but about 5 minutes. Splicing, we've been kind of feeding deer, patterning deer and stuff like that. And about 5 minutes after he showed up, there's 22, 23 hogs here now probably. As soon as they came, the first hog we saw was 200 yards from here, and the only reason we saw it was he saw it first and we looked to see what he was looking at. And just all you saw was whitetails running off. It's a prime example of how hogs impact the hunting.
This segment is brought to you by Mellon Creek Outfitters, Texas free-range hunting at its best. With a 110,000-acre ranch and 3,000-square-foot lodge, clients can hunt deer, hog, turkey, predators, and more. Mellon Creek Outfitters, raising standards, not fences.
Wayne and Diane Sears are coming in. They're bringing their daughter. Wayne and Diane have been coming for years. Except this year, Diane's going after a trophy buck, and then Nikki's coming in for an MCO buck. So the two ladies are doing all the hunting.
I have definitely seen an increase of women hunters coming in. It started a couple years ago. They might bring their wives. One man might bring his wife. And then the next year, you know, you would have some couples come hunting. And then the next year we had like couples coming and their kids coming. It's been really, really good and eye-opening to have more women come into camp.
You know, we've got one buck picked out. Hagen's been watching him a couple of weeks, and he's still in velvet. Here we are, middle to late October, and these deer should be rubbed out. There's something wrong with this deer. You know, some kind of testosterone levels off for him to still be in full velvet. Everything else is rubbed out. You know, to shoot a Texas velvet deer doesn't happen very often because we typically rub out before October 1st, which sometimes you can shoot one in bow season, but most of the time here they're done rubbed out in velvet. So to get a chance after a velvet buck in Texas is pretty special. I hope she gets him.
But for us to see a deer in full velvet right now, and like perfect velvet, like you said, he's not just rubbing out ladies. There's an issue going on there that's making him hold on to it.
First thing that I figured
and
something was wrong
too,
with him. He's
so,
sick or something.
Not to make you nervous, but he's big at the same time.
That's what I told him. I said, don't show me the picture. I want to see him walk out. Because I'll get, you know, I'll be anticipating and get more nervous than I have to be.
The crew headed to the shooting range to check their guns before the hunt started. But when they arrived, there were some unwanted guests.
Yep, there's some in there. There's some wasps under there.
You know, anytime that you traveling on a plane or throw your gun in the back of the truck, you always ought to check your gun when you get to a place because, you know, you've got this trophy of a lifetime standing in front of you. You want to give that animal the chance for you to make a good shot, and you don't want to mess it up and wound him and then you can't find him. So every time you go to a hunt, if you got a chance, go send one down range. Make sure it's, you know, your scope hasn't got knocked off. You owe it to the animal and yourself to take that 5 minutes to make sure your gun's on.
Half-inch right, half-inch low. Right there.
Very good.
Like the bullseye is here and it's right here.
Ready to go get a blind?
Ready.
Let's go. Blind's a little ways from here. It's about 6 miles from here. But we're gonna run on down there. I'll pull up to the blind and we'll get all of your stuff set up in there. I'll drop you and Shane off. And I'm gonna go back and park the truck and I'll sneak back to the blind and get in. And then once I get in, I'll help you load your gun and get situated on your tripod and all that. We're gonna wanna be extra quiet today. These deer, they're goofy. Like they're real spooky.
Yeah. This one's going in my barbershop, so.
He'll be a perfect fit for your barbershop because he could use a little haircut. He's still got hair all over his horns.
So we've come here again to have a kill fest. Murder and mayhem. It's my daughter's first hunt. My husband's with her right now, and we're waiting on this big boy coming out for my trophy. Let's hope everything goes well. He's a real special deer. I'm excited.
Well, we're fixing to go get in the blind. We're going to hunt this big split deer. Been watching this deer for years now. You know, have some stories about him, some encounters. You know, tonight, I hope this is his night to die. You know, I hope she gets to look at him. I think she's going to like him. He's full of character and he's really old. So we're going to go get in the blind and try him on.
just waiting for him to show up and see where it goes.
You know, it's October. These deer are kind of on a pattern, but it's getting towards the end of October and the rut's gonna be going on in 7, 8, 10 days. So you just never know what they're gonna do. You know, they're whitetails. They're still, you know, they're the hardest animals to pattern that we hunt, but it's what makes them fun to hunt. But I think we're gonna get this deer tonight. I think he's gonna come out, you know, a good 30 minutes before it gets dark. Been seeing him here quite a bit. You know, fingers are crossed. It is our first night. We've got 5 days. So, you know, if we don't see him tonight, that's one thing, but we'll be putting our time right here. And I think it's gonna work out. She's gonna get her first buck tonight.
Managing this much property is very difficult because there's a lot of brush. If you hunt whitetail deer, you know how sneaky they are and how they don't want to be seen and, you know, move at night and all of the factors that go into a whitetail buck. So if he's a 6-year-old giant buck or a 6-year-old buck that needs to be removed from the genetic pool, he's just as hard to get him. You know, as they get older, they get smarter, and you got a lot of land here, and it's hard to get them all off of there. And I mean, it's still hunting, and that's what makes it fun, and that's why I love my job is to chase whitetail deer, because it's not easy.
So after checking my cameras, you know, the last couple of days, I was pretty confident that deer was going to come in about an hour before dark, like he had been doing pretty regularly. We got in the blind a little bit early. It was our first day in there, and just kind of wanted to make sure we didn't mess anything up. We're playing it extra safe. We got in there and got situated, and pretty much like clockwork, he came out like he was supposed to. We got in the blind a little bit early. It was our first day in there, and just kind of wanted to make sure we didn't mess anything up. We're playing it extra safe. We got in there and got situated, and pretty much like clockwork, he came out like he was supposed to. You're good. He's going down, watch him. There he goes. There's a really big deer right here beside us still. Great job. It's like there's still a very big deer right here. Now try not to scare this deer. Let's just let him settle down. There's a really good deer right here behind us still.
You see that? Well, I just got the deer of my life, my trophy. He's huge, he's in velvet. He's on the ground and we're just waiting to go out and get him. I tried not to look at his rack too much. I tried to stay on his body. I still haven't seen his rack really good, but I saw him walk by and he's a monster. He's a monster. I'm so blessed.
Awesome job.
Oh, Hagen. Hagen. I can't believe it. Here comes Dan, huh?
Very minute.
Is this Dan?
Yeah.
Grinning from ear to ear. I think I shot him perfect, too. He was like posing for me. Oh, my God. Wow, Hagen. Oh, Hagen. Oh, God.
For me, that was one of the deer that I looked very forward to hunting all year. It was one that I had very high hopes of getting killed because of his condition and situation and not rubbing out in velvet. He wouldn't have maintained those horns through the rest of the year. They would have gotten busted up at some point, and he wouldn't have grown another set next year. So I kind of felt like it was a now or never deal, and I put a lot of effort into making sure that we were able to harvest that deer, and it was very rewarding when it did come together.
Oh my. I have never seen a deer close up with this velvet. Look at, am I supposed to be touching this? Oh, baby, thank you. Oh my God, this is so unique.
It's cool.
So unique.
It's cool.
Did Nikki shoot yet?
Something cut the sack on it and they fell out.
So that's why he's still in velvet.
This deer injured his testicles at some point throughout the year, and for that reason never reached his testosterone levels to shed the velvet.
It was about 4 or 5 years ago. I did my very first hunt here, just like my daughter's doing today. And I hope she's having as good a time as I am. But yeah, we had a couple years where weather didn't permit us to come here, but we are back. This is my favorite place to hunt. This is a really unique deer too. I'm gonna be the talk of the town with this one. I don't think anybody's got one. I've never seen a deer mounted in velvet before. Truly blessed.
I don't have a client this week. I'm gonna let Pat and Dustin and Hagen guide. I like to do that. That way the guys get the tips. So I'm just kind of riding around waiting until they take these deer, and then I'll come in and take pictures of them. Also wanted to get my puppy in here to kind of let him mess around with the blood and stuff. But I kind of would rather take pictures of these deer than guide them anyway, especially deer like that. That's a pretty cool buck to still have velvet and everything. That's the first one we've ever gotten that still had velvet. So I'm excited to take pictures of him. I'm gonna get some more gear out and try to get some really cool photos with the sunset in the background. I just like running the camera. I mean, I've always taken a lot of still images, but since I started doing this show, I've become kind of intrigued by the camera guys around me that shoot video. I enjoy doing it. I've got a long way to go doing it, but I enjoy it. And anytime that they might need somebody extra, I always try to go along. You know, being around these guys helps me really learn how to do the video side of things more than just the still images.
Pretty cool.
Check them out. I'm very good. Very good.
Cool. Hey, girls.
It was so awesome. So awesome. I didn't look at any pictures of him before he came out or anything. And he walked out and I still wasn't looking at, I was the sweet spot. And I just focused there. And then when I walked up to him, I was like,
No,
he's so unique. I know. Look at him. Oh, wow.
Nikki, Diane's daughter, had been hunting hard over the past 2 days. Dustin has been unable to locate the buck they're hunting, but they did manage to put the smack down on her first hog.
Right on. Give me some.
Thank you.
With only 1 day left on the hunt, they were back in the blind early morning and the action started right away.
The deer on the right with his tail up walking. We start getting on him. Body deer, he's the second one on the right. Give it a little bit more filming. See him? He's on the far left.
Buck was here before daylight. He was here when, after you drove off, there's 4 bucks out there. And he was one of them. Then she made a good shot. He burned out and went into this thick stuff, but I think he's gonna be right there.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go find him.
All right, let's do this.
When I went over there, she threw her head up and started coming back. I was like, now that wind's pushing us. Right.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Dustin.
Hey, you made a good shot. He just didn't bleed much. You know, you can see where he laid here. He just didn't bleed a lot. She was going through this grass and trying to get over it, and I was like, I didn't see the deer until I was probably right here. I mean, I just stomped that down.
So appreciative for everyone here who did everything they could for me, and just extremely proud to be walking away with this kind of deer. It's amazing.
Here we go.
Congratulations. Welcome to the family.
So proud.
Welcome to the
brand new hunter. Oh, you did her good.
Heavenly Father, we would like to pause and give thanks for these things that so often get taken for granted. We know that none of this would be possible without your infinite wisdom, mercy, and love for all of us. We thank you for the countless blessings you give us and ask that you show us daily how to live our lives according to your will. We also ask that you guide our nation back toward your desires. In Jesus' holy name we pray. Amen.